Hey, welcome back, everyone. It is me, yours truly, only on PlayStation VR 2. Now, on this video, I did find this article actually today. I found this article on Forbes, and we're going to talk about this article. And I have a couple of problems with this article, and I think it's important to address this article. This is from Forbes, where Forbes made an article stating that PlayStation VR 2 is the wrong device at the wrong time at the wrong price. Wrong price, I'm sorry. Wrong price. So I'm going to read this article. I'll put a link down below. You guys can read it for yourself. So this article was released on January 31st. Interestingly enough, the same article that came out on Bloomberg about, PlayStation, where Bloomberg was claiming that Sony was cutting the PlayStation units in half to like 1.2 million or something like that, which Sony has denied. They're simply saying they don't want to release too many units because if there's no high demand for it, why would you make more units? So looking at it from a cost perspective, it's like, okay, why should I make more coffee cups if there isn't enough of demand? Why should I waste my resources and money for that if there isn't enough demand? Now, one thing for sure is that the pre-orders are not super hot. Now, before I jump into this title, and I know you guys are going to get triggered, but the pre-orders are not too hot, because if the pre-orders were so hot and everybody was jumping on board, everybody was, buying it, clearly you wouldn't be able to pre-order neither one of these bundles. Everything would be sold out. Okay. But nothing seems to be sold out here. Everything's available. So what does that tell me? That tells me that there isn't a high demand for PlayStation VR 2 because people are just not so sure. They want to wait and see how it goes. Maybe this will change during spring, summer, right? During spring and summer, maybe we'll see this change the course. I don't have a crystal ball. Anything's possible. I'm not saying that I'm right, nor am I saying that I'm wrong. I'm simply speculating. Okay. But one thing for sure, where I don't have to speculate, is if I see that we're so close to the release of this device next week, and next week Wednesday to be exact, and I see that the pre-orders are available, anybody can pre-order, that shows me that they have enough units available. That shows me that there isn't a high demand like there is with PlayStation 5 or PSP, right? Remember PSP? It was a shortage. There wasn't enough units. So PlayStation 5, obviously, during a pandemic, was, even to this day, it's still kind of difficult to find one. But you can find it more easier now after 2 years. So if the this was selling super fast and super hot, guess what? You wouldn't be able to pre-order. It would be sold out. But that's not the case. That's how I know that it's not selling. That's how I know. I don't have the sheet statistics to look at the sheet, to look at statistics. Obviously, no one has, unless you're working for Sony. You might have it, but it's confidential, most likely. So, but one thing I can tell you is, looking at this shows me that it's not having a high demand of pre-orders. Granted, there's, people who are fans, who love PlayStation VR, like me. I'm a fan of PlayStation VR. So people like me and others who are fans of PlayStation VR, for the PlayStation VR 2, of course, we're going to be among the first ones to pre-order this. But there's other people who are on the fence and they're not so sure. They're waiting to see how it goes. So They don't feel comfortable spending $600 just like that. They want to wait and see how it goes during the spring, summer. Maybe in the fall they might get one. Maybe during the summer they might get one. Maybe this will change during the summer. But just to answer some of those questions where people keep saying to me, how do I know? What source of information am I getting? How do I know that the pre-orders are not doing so well? Well, first of all, there has been plenty of reports from various different outlets out there. You can go and research it yourself. Okay, go out there, and if you have a Google, if you have a browser, if you have internet, you can go research it yourself, and you're gonna find out for yourself. Now, if you want to be ignorant and you don't want to accept that, well, that's on you. But there's plenty of sources out there. They're saying that it's the pre-orders are not doing that well. So number two, I can see that it's available. You can go right now to Direct PlayStation and you can pre-order this. No problems. What does that tell you? That tells you that the interest for this device right now is not too hot. It's kind of niche. All right. People are not too crazy about, laying out $600 and here, take my money, right? They're waiting to see how it goes. Okay. So that's that. Anybody who knows anything about how this works will understand what I'm saying. So that's that. Now let's move on to this article right here. This is from Forbes. Article that says PlayStation VR 2 is the wrong device at the wrong time at the wrong price. So I'm going to read the article. There's a new report out from Bloomberg that Sony is going to cut its sales forecast down for PlayStation VR 2 after pre-orders have been lacking. According to the report, where admittedly Bloomberg has missed on Sony insider reports before. So take this with a grain of salt. They said that they have missed on their reports before. The forecast is being cut from 2 million to 1 million for its launch quarter. The headset launches in just 3 weeks on February 22nd. Update. Sony has now denied it is cutting production numbers of PlayStation VR 2. So they're denying that they had cut production from 2 million to 1 million. Though that wasn't quite what the original report said. Rather, it was cutting eternal sales forecasts. I was not all that surprised when I learned Sony was making a second PlayStation VR headset, given that the first one was effectively the most popular of its VR generation. But Sony seems to have misfired on a bunch of fronts here the second time around. All right, so they put some examples over here. I'll highlight it. PlayStation VR 2, it's priced at $550 plus tax, $30. That's $580 or $583. Well above not just its MetaQuest competitors, both present and likely future, but also more expensive than even the top-end PlayStation 5 itself. And look, no one can disagree with this. Even if you are a Sony fanboy, right? You cannot disagree with the fact that it costs more than the console itself. And if you get a digital PlayStation 5, you're going to say, hey, man, I'm saving almost $200, $180, because you need to add an additional $180 on top of $400 to get to $580, because you got to pay taxes. So technically, you're paying $600 for this device. Okay? It's a lot of money. And I can agree on that. You need a PlayStation 5 to play it. That's the other thing, the MetaQuest, it's standalone, while you will also need to own the PlayStation 5 to run PlayStation VR 2. That may have been more acceptable when the other VR headsets were needing to be plugged into a high-end computers, but standalone sets have been the big breakout since then. It has a cord. Again, this is not what most VR players are hoping for in 2023, where many VR headsets, including Meta's, are now cord-free, where here you'll still be tethered to your PlayStation. Okay, so there's a couple of things here I'm going to dive into. Some stuff I agree, some stuff I disagree. So let's go with the stuff that I disagree. First and foremost, I have no problem that this PlayStation VR2 has a cord. Actually, it's only going to benefit with better graphics. It's going to benefit with a better, more efficient resolution and high dynamic range. Is going to benefit more efficiently with low latency and frame rate. It's going to benefit in many different ways. All right, so that right there, it's going to help with keeping it cooler. It's not going to overheat. Like with the Oculus Quest, when you're playing it for so long, it gets overheated. You know, you got all that heat inside your head from the headset. So with the Oculus Quest, that's something that you have to think about, that heat. And that heat brings the moisture and fogginess inside the lenses. Not to mention the batteries quickly are dying, and charging the Oculus Quest takes a long time to charge that sucker. So I can do a separate video, like, PlayStation VR versus Oculus Quest. I can do that separately if you guys want me to. So I disagree with this whole, it has a cord and da 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 da. No, that doesn't bother me one bit. I have no issues. The cord is pretty long. It can, I think it's about, I'm going to go on a limb here. I think it's about 12 feet. It's about 12 feet, more than enough for you to attach to your console. And your console, it's pretty sturdy. You're not going to be able to pull it out. Okay, you're going to unplug the cable, but you're not going to pull out your PlayStation VR, your PlayStation 5 console. So I have no problem. I disagree. I have no problem with the cord. It's fine. That's what makes the PlayStation VR headset much lighter and more comfortable and less foggy. So that I like. So I disagree with this. Okay? Let's see what else I disagree. You need a PlayStation 5 to play it. Well, of course you need a PlayStation 5 to play it. Just like you need a PC to play, a Windows Mixed Reality or Valve Index or HTC Vive. Of course. It's not a standalone device. So this, I disagree with this. So there's two things I disagree. It has a cord. I have no problem with that. I actually like that. You need a PlayStation 5 to play it. I have no problem with that, because that's only going to help give us better experience, give us better graphics, give us better performance. So I have no issue with that. So I disagree with both of these. Now, PlayStation VR 2, it's priced at $550, well above not just its MetaQuest competitors. Now, the price, it's something to be desired with. Me personally, I think technology that's built inside PlayStation VR 2 justifies the price. Now, having said that, this is the part where I need you guys to calm yourself and don't trigger yourself immediately. Yes, I said numerous times, technology built inside PlayStation VR 2 justifies the price. Okay. All right, so calm down. Everybody relax, okay? Don't get your pantyhoses wet now. My problem is this. For almost $600 plus tax, $550 plus tax, $580. For almost nearly $600, the fact that you couldn't include a backward compatibility with the PlayStation VR 1 library games. I had my PlayStation VR 1 since 2016. Why are you going to make me have two VR headsets now? I have to plug in my PlayStation VR. I know technically it's people are going to say, what's the problem? Just plug in your original PlayStation VR 1 with the adapter to the PlayStation 5. I get that. Yes, you can get the adapter. They're going to send it to you for free. You plug it into the adapter, fine. But to me, that's inconvenient. Why are you making me plug in two different types of VR headsets to play two different types of VR experiences? Why couldn't you make it more convenient? For $600, I think we deserve a convenience. So the price, to me, is justified. But that's speaking from my point of view because I already have a PlayStation 5. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, man, for nearly $600, you couldn't make some kind of a patch update or have a patch update day one to utilize PlayStation VR 1 backward compatible games. That bothers me a little bit, because you're asking so much for this VR headset and you couldn't do that, put some backward compatibility in there. It's not just me that's saying, there's a lot of even people who are like hardcore PlayStation VR fanboys. Everybody, from Paul VR to PlayStation VR without parole. Dude, there's a list of PlayStation fans who are complaining about this, So when it comes to price, it's a double-edged sword. And I understand each side of the sword. On one end of the sword, I get it. For those of us who have PlayStation 5 and, we already have it, and we enjoy the previous PlayStation VR 1, for us, with all this new technology, yeah, it's worth it. But it would have been nicer if they had included a backward compatibility for PlayStation VR 1 games. Maybe in the future they're going to do this. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, okay? All right. So the other side of that double-edged sword, I understand why some people are not eager to purchase this right away or to pre-order this right away. This is why the pre-orders are not doing too hot. Because people are like, man, I don't even have a PlayStation 5. Now, you pricing this thing at nearly $600, so you want me to buy a PlayStation 5 if I can find a digital version, right? If you can find a digital version. Most likely you find the Blu-ray version. So you making me pay $500 for a console because I'm going to need it, and now I have to pay additional $550 plus tax, close to $600 for this VR headset. We're looking at close to $1,100. So $1,100 just so I can plug in this VR headset so I can start playing. Not to mention that you have to pay for video games, $40 here, $50 there, $60 here, $50 there. The pricing on the PlayStation VR 2 games is not that bad. But I understand both sides of the aisle. I understand why some people are going to say, dude, this is too expensive for me. And I don't see anything significant for me to cash out this kind of money. Especially now during the tax, we got to pay higher taxes. You got to pay this. This is a new year. You have to renew everything, right? So I understand why some people are hesitant to pre-order this, okay? And at the same time, you got to give them a reason why they should spend $1,100, right? They're going to say, okay, well, why should I? Why don't I just buy a PlayStation 5? Why don't I buy a PlayStation 5 Blu-ray and PlayStation 5 digital? Have one in a living room, one in the bedroom. I could have two PlayStation 5s. And whatever money I have left, I can buy, SSD, NVMe, SSD, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte drives, and put it into my PlayStation 5, right? These are legitimate questions that people are, asking. And I think this is the reason why the pre-orders are not too hot, because of that. And of course, no backward compatibility. It's not even compatible with the PC. If this thing, like I said earlier, if this was compatible with the PC And if it had a backward compatible PlayStation VR 1 games, oh, you wouldn't be able to find it. It would be sold out, 100%. So here's what I'm going to say about this article. Is the PlayStation VR 2 the wrong device at the wrong time? Yes and no. It's just poorly executed. It hasn't been thought out properly. They haven't thought this out properly. They haven't thought about it properly. They should have thought about it properly. They should have sat around the table and should have said, wait a minute. Let's look at our economy right now. Let's look at where we are economically. Let's look at the market. What people want, what they don't want. The VR, it's kind of a niche thing. It's not like... Do you know how difficult it is for me to convince people to try VR? My friends, they still don't want to try it. It's not easy to convince people to jump into the VR. All right, so how are you going to get people convinced to jump into the VR if the price is so high, right? So that's something to think about. I think the PlayStation VR 2 should have been priced at $400. Honestly, I know, but at $400, it would have been a much easier pill to swallow. At $400, it would be less severe, less painful. Okay? Even if people were like not so sure, are there going to be any games, blah, 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 for me to play, I think that it would have been a less severe pain at the wallet. So they should have priced it at $400. With $400 console digital and a $400 headset, that's $800. So for $800, you can have a VR and a console. That's a pretty good deal. That would have been a great deal, and I think that would have seized the deal. If they had included a backward compatibility for PlayStation VR 1 games, if they had included a PC support at $400, this thing would have been sold out. So PlayStation VR 2 is at the wrong device at the wrong time. Like I said, I don't neither disagree nor do I agree. It was just poorly executed. It was miscalculated poorly, and they rushed through this. They made a very rushing, knee-jerk reaction decision to sell it. They should have thought about this much carefully. It was just poorly executed, and that's why they're hurting right now at the pre-orders, and that's why the pre-orders right now are not looking too hot. And you can buy it. You can buy the regular edition for $550 or the bundle edition for $600. Hell, you can even get a controller. Not a controller, I'm sorry. The VR2 Sense controller charging station. You can even get the charging station. And another thing that sucks, nobody wants to talk about, they're not selling the controllers separately. Why is that? Why aren't you selling the controllers separately? Why? Because they're not so sure. They're not so sure how well this is going to play out. I think right now what Sony is doing, they're kind of like waiting to see what happens. I think that's where we are at. Okay? And it's this is very divided. I never seen a device that is so split and divided, 50-50. You know, on one side you got the fanboys, and of course fanboys gonna fanboy, no matter what. And on the other side you got fans of PlayStation who love PlayStation, and they love anything regarding the PlayStation, but they're like, I don't know if I need this. I don't know if this is something I need. And I don't know about the price, and I don't have any backward compatibility with the original lineup of the PlayStation VR games. Just, they're not so sure. They're on the fence. So basically, that's what you got going on, in my opinion. You got two split, divided departments now. On one department, you have people who are on the fence and they don't know, they're not so sure. And on the other side of the fence of the department, you have people who are fans and they don't care, like take my money, those type of guys, fanboys. I don't know how else to call them. So it's very split. It's divided. Like I call it two departments. One department, for the lack of a better word, one department. It's like I'm on the fence. I'm not so sure. And on the other side of the department, it's like, yeah, I'm a Sony fanboy. I'll buy anything Sony. Da 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 da. So it's kind of like it's very divided. And if you don't believe me that it's very divided, you need to do better research. You need to go look at better research. There's a lot of people out there who are on the fence. Even when you go to Reddit, when you go to YouTube. Now, if you're only watching, positive, hype train type of fanboy videos, then that's what you're going to think in your head. There's no, it's not divided. There's no split opinions here. This is very split opinions here. This is very divided. And again, I don't mean to repeat myself like a broken record, but if PlayStation VR 2 was so successful with the pre-orders, well, all of this would be out of stock. It would say out of stock. It would say out of stock everywhere. But it's not out of stock. You can order it right now. If you have the money, if you got the money to spend, knock yourself out, go and pre-order it. Nothing should stop you from pre-ordering this right now. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they're not doing well. That tells you that it's too late now. They miscalculated. The cat's out of the bag. They haven't thought about it carefully. It is what it is. Right now, they can't go back. They just have to open the gates and let this thing go out in the wild and see what happens, right? Maybe in spring, summer, maybe things will be different, right? Maybe in summer, we'll see this thing pick up and people start buying it, right? Maybe in September, we're going to see a bunch of people buying this VR headset. Maybe during October, we'll see a bunch of people buying it. Maybe in November, before holidays, we'll see people buying it, and it's going to be out of stock. But that will be something we'll have to wait and see. This is just speculation. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But for right now, as of this moment, it's hard to tell which way this is going to go. All right? So there you have it. That's my opinion on it. I'm 50-50. I'm not like 100% sold on this thing currently right now because, I haven't seen anything like in terms of software. Yes, Gran Turismo 7 is great for me. That's my guilty pleasure, but it's not going to be enough to captivate, global reach to get everybody to jump on board. So I personally think PlayStation VR 2 is going to be a slow burn. I'll end the video by saying this. I think it's going to be a slow burn, and it's going to take some time. It's going to be a slow burn, and it's going to take some time. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And that's pretty much, in my honest opinion, what it boils down to. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, yet another half an hour video. Again, it's impossible for me to make these videos shorter because there's so much I have to say. I have to come across all of these points, and takes time, But let me know what you think. But do me a favor, guys. Stop with the trolling. It doesn't work. I've been doing this for a long time. If you're trying to attempt to troll me, you're just wasting your energy. You're just wasting your oxygen. Okay. I've been doing this for a long time. Okay, I have a very thick skin. I've been dealing with trolls. I've been dealing with this. This is nothing new for me. If you're somebody new and you just came across me, do some research about me first. I've been doing this for 9 years. Okay, since 2013, I've been doing the YouTube. I've been doing this for a long time. Okay, so the trolling's not gonna work. I'm simply just gonna keep it on the review, and that's it. All the comments will be approved. So if you got nothing intellectual to say, if you got nothing smart to say, then don't say it. And some of you guys, even your sarcasm sucks. You can't even properly spell, and you're trying to act like you're gonna get me with some of your jokes. So listen, just don't embarrass yourselves with stupidity, because it's not gonna work. Okay, this might work on some new freshman YouTuber, but this is a veteran you're talking about. It's not gonna work on me. So I'm just telling you to drop it and don't waste your time. If you don't like what I do, if you don't like my opinion, like I said previously, take a hike, take a walk. Nobody's forcing you to watch it. But I also have a choice where I don't have to read your stupid comments. I have that ability to do that. That is my right. That is my choice that the YouTube gave me. Okay? So now, having said that, keep that in mind. Other than that, enjoy the Super Bowl. Me, I have no favorites to pick. I don't care about Eagles, you know. It doesn't matter to me. So I really don't care which way, either way it goes. So, you know. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Sorry about the long video, but I had to make it this way. I know it's 33 minutes, 34 minutes. My apologies. Sorry about that. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you in the next one. This is only on PlayStation VR 2.